We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you.
Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Belicio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Belicio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Belicio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at beliciofoods.com/careers.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show and our morning news update. And our good friend Jeremiah Schaefer in the house this morning to talk about
this and that, Jid. Just what I've been covering.
Okay.
How about that?
All right. But we're doing our morning news update. And then Pete will be here a little bit later.
Pete will be in here shortly after I get done rambling and my way through what I have here. Covered a few things last week, and he wanted me to come in and talk about those. First thing I'm going to talk about is bad news. Hate to start with bad news on Monday, but Pete felt like this was kind of the leading story, so that's why he wanted me to come in.
Okay.
On Friday, January 6th, we had a structure fire in the city of Wellston.
Oh, no.
This is at 503 East Broadway Street there in Wellston. It's a 3-story structure, and they had 7 fire departments out there, Jen, for this.
Whoa.
And the fire departments involved was the Wellston Fire Department, Colton, Jackson, Hamden, MacArthur, Bloomfield, Liberty. We're all out there for this fire. And anybody that was driving by, I mean, I topped over the hill on the other side of Broadway because I came 788 to go check it out. And when I topped over that hill, you could just see all the twinkling lights on the other side of Broadway on the hill there.
Yeah, that's not
up
good.
from the city building. But this was a single family style dwelling. It was built 1895 is what the Jackson County Auditor site said. And according to Wellston Fire Chief Ryan Pelletier, he explained to me that the fire it started in the basement, and it went straight to in the basement, went straight to the attic.
Whoa! Went straight up.
Went straight up. So
wow!
Because this, and he explained this to me, and I did a little research just to be able to explain it. It was this home was built in the 1800s, and it was built as a they called it a wood frame balloon type structure.
Okay.
So the way that was built, the let's see here. He explained that the home had been constructed with a balloon frame, which means the exterior walls share common space from the basement all the way up to the attic. So it was built in the 1800s. So the way it was designed, all the exterior walls run from the basement
all the way up.
So there's no breaks.
I see.
In the floors. So when it started in the basement, it just had a highway to the attic.
Sure.
So it just lit up and went up. No. So the inside, they said the inside was burnt real bad. I have, let me see here. I have the report here. They had sent me the report. It was late Friday, but they called it a 3-story structure. When they arrived on scene, there was heavy smoke showing, and they found fire around the furnace, and which would be in the basement. And the ceiling,
there's the balloon.
Yeah, there you go. So that kind of gives you an idea of what I was talking about. But as you can see, the way the frame is built,
it goes
all the way up, and there's no real, they call them fire breaks in the floors,
right?
So, the way that home was designed back in the 1800s, that's just how they dealt with a lot of that back then. They found out, we need to stop building them like this because it's not a good design, I guess you would say. But anyhow, there was a female home at the time of the fire, and the smoke alarm sounded and alerted the homeowner of the fire, so they were able to get out
Oh,
okay.
okay.
And it says no person or firefighter was injured during this fire. 20 firefighters were on scene. Chief Pelletier explained to me that there was so many folks on scene because of the time of day, low staffing, and it was really cold on Friday, the weather conditions. So they had to have the staffing of the firefighters to be able to switch out as they go in. The report explained that because of where it went from the basement up to the attic, it also hit the first and second floors, so they had to open up the walls and extinguish the fire on the walls, and there was also fire found on the third floor, which was the attic and
Wow.
the knee wall area. They said so they had to open that up and extinguish. But I guess there was a problem because of the way that it burnt. I guess it burnt the staircase, so they weren't able to get to the second floor. So they had to use a ladder
Gotcha.
to go through a window to the second floor, and then they had trouble getting to the access point for the attic.
Sure.
Because of the way it burnt. But in the report here, it says cause of ignition, failure of equipment or heat source. It says mechanical failure, malfunction, other. So it must have been an issue with the furnace.
Yeah, that's what that sounds like.
And it lists here, yeah. It lists furnace or central heating as equipment involved. But the structure, it says estimated losses, property $125K. Content $25K, and the property pre-incident value was the same, so I guess the structure would be a total loss.
Yep.
Contents was about half lost. The property was owned by, I got it here, Eric and Jenna Keaton, and they were the homeowners. I did talk to, it must have been Eric that I was speaking to, because he was on the scene up there. He had started talking to me and asked what I'd heard, and I told him, I hadn't heard a lot. They just gave me some initial details, but he said that he was trying to get a hold of his home insurance, so it sounded like they had home insurance. So
that's a good thing,
and
it's a good thing that everybody got out safely.
Yes, everybody got out safely. Nobody got injured in this,
right?
So the little it was kind of a big fire for the start of the new year.
Yeah, you hate to hear all of that.
Yeah, because with the holidays and everything, it's just it's hard. Also last week I was filling in for Phil. Went up to Wilson City Council. And haven't been there in a while, so that was fun to go and see all those folks, and they were surprised to see me, and so that's always fun. But the Wilson City Council meeting was on Thursday, January 5th. They passed a number of legislation. There was a few things that I pulled out to write stories about. I'll talk about real quick.
Okay.
Councilwoman, it would be First Ward Councilwoman Angela Spangler, brought up under old business about the Louis Theater located at 103 Ohio Avenue there in downtown Wellston.
There it is.
There's a photo I took kind of showing the front of it there. You can see there's, the marquee, the part of it there's gone, and just got the Louis part there, and it's really starting to show a lot of...
It is starting to look
a little rough
old,
there. Yeah. She explained that she had an email correspondent from a concerned citizen, and the citizen was wanting to see the former theater here salvaged. And, there's been a lot of discussion about this over the years. I've been doing this for 11 years.
A lot of years.
And I can remember, it was probably, I don't know, 8-9 years ago, there was a group that tried to, save the theater at one point, and then that fell through. And then more recently, the Steve and Melissa Hammond, the Hammonds, purchased the Louis and had plans to restore it, kind of to its former glory. And they had some, I guess, up and downs with that. But there was just some confusion, I guess, and they had some conversation during council, about the condition, who owned it, where it stood on what was happening with that structure. And Wellston Service and Safety Director Anthony Brenner stated that the city of Wellston has no involvement with what's going on with the Louis.
I was going to say, I mean, it's privately owned.
It is.
So...
It is privately owned by Steve and Melissa Hammond.
Yeah.
And the couple, had expressed interest in renovating the historic theater. And, late last year, I guess they had signed a voluntary consent with the Jackson County Land Bank.
Yes.
To have it demolished.
Yes.
Now, I spoke on Friday with Mr. Radeball. Is it Gary?
Yes.
Gary Radeball. He's with the Land Bank, does a lot with the Land Bank. And he said that the list of projects that they have for demolition will be going out to bid in February. So, we'll probably see this theater demolished here sometime this year.
Right.
But I had spoke with Miss Hammond, and she told me that, it's always been, their will to save the Louis. That'd be their first choice. But they had signed that voluntary. And I since it's voluntary, I guess they could still back out if they chose to. Like I said, there was no names mentioned on the concerned citizen, but she did say that she did have some citizens and business owners that kind of wanted to save it, I guess.
Okay.
But she said that as far as the building goes, they just signed that consent form for Land Bank to tear it down, which, they had the funding to be able to do. Last time I checked, they had like $700,000 to tear down, like, I don't know, it was like 40 some.
Yeah. A lot of properties.
A lot of properties.
Yep.
But I guess the Louis, they said it was still structurally sound, even though it doesn't have a roof. But
yeah. Other than the roof not being there.
Yeah, the walls are there, and the what is it that runs across there? The joists or whatever you call them are still there. Brenner said the last time they had looked at it, they noticed there was some cracks in the walls. So I don't know with freezing and thawing this winter.
I was going to say winter. It doesn't take very long to destroy it.
How it will stand the test of time. So that's all. As of right now, I guess it's still on the chopping block for demolition.
Okay.
But I guess if somebody would want to get a hold of the Hammonds that would have some kind of plan to try to save it or had the money to throw at it, it's going to take a lot of money.
Yeah.
You can remember the Marquee and how many years and how much funding went into trying to save that. But that's a little bit about that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's been interesting. And, she said that, when they originally bought that, they had a lot of family history with it. Like, I don't know if it was her parents or her husband's parents had met there and just different stuff like that. She had told me a little bit about this and that.
Were you ever there to see a movie or anything?
Yes. I told her that I don't know when it would have been whenever Toy Story 2 released.
Really?
I watched Toy Story 2 there. I can remember Dad bringing us up, me and my little brother, and I remember because it was split into two screens because it used to be just one, and I guess when Matt Fields had owned it, he had split it and where it had two screens. And I remember watching. I think it was like in the left side watching Toy Story 2. And it's a funny story about Mr. Fields. I worked for him years ago before I started doing my newspaper career. I worked over at the Tri-City Theater. Oh. And I was telling him my memory about the Louis because I had learned that he had originally had it. And he said that the Toy Story 2 was kind of one of the last few films that they showed and kind of got him through before they finally shut it down. I think they shut it down. It was like in 2003.
Okay.
If I remember right.
Toy Story 2 was 1999.
Oh, was it 99?
99.
Okay. Well, I think it like the theater ended up shutting down in 2003. But
I remember this is crazy. The movie that I saw there that I remember, and this is okay. Look this one up, James.
I was gonna say, Jen, do you want me to tell you how long ago this was?
I remember going to see with my parents Beverly Hills Cop.
Is that one with Eddie? That Eddie Murphy? Yeah.
You're gonna make me sad.
Like drum roll.
Oh, hold on. There's the date. 84.
1984. So I was 9.
I was 9. Yeah,
I just remember that. I don't know why I remember that, but I do.
So 99. So I would have been like 10, I think, when I went then.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. But anyhow, so we'll just have to look and wait to see. I mean, if those go out to bid in February, then hopefully all that process will get started.
Yeah. I mean, it's just...
It's always sad to see historic.
It's so big. Yeah, it's
torn
such
down,
it's hard.
It's hard. I mean, it would take a lot. She did say that she did tell me on Friday that she had been approached by the city of Wellston about after the demolition about them purchasing the property.
Okay.
I guess Wellston Mayor Charlie Hudson. I haven't spoken to him, but she says that he has interest in turning it into a parking lot there for the downtown area.
Okay.
And they have a lot of activities there in downtown, and usually there's not a whole lot of parking other than the street parking there.
Gotcha.
So that's something that maybe will come to fruition, I guess. So also at Wellston City Council, council adopted and passed by emergency resolution number it was 2023-01, and it was a resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for, accept, or enter into agreements for the planning of the water treatment plant improvement project. I'm sure Phil's been on and probably talked about this in the past.
And I think Charlie mentioned it the last time he was
probably
here
has.
too.
It's going to be a big project, if I remember right.
Because don't they have like two and they're combining into one or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they have. So I have a little bit about that on here. City of Wellston currently maintains 2 water treatment plants. There's one to the north, one to the south. Both water plants are more than 60 years old. Though they can produce EPA approved water that is safe to drink, both water plants have significant issues with recent wall collapses, chlorine gas leaks at the south plant, and additional costs that run both water plants are significantly higher than what a modern single water plant would do. But this project price tag on it is $20 million, and this resolution is kind of the next phase to allow Charlie to be able to proceed with that. So that's exciting news there in the city of Wellston.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge project, but will be so nice when it's done.
Yes, and it'll improve that process for doing the water
efficiency and all that.
the way they do it, and should be good for the city of Wellston. Last thing I'll talk about on Wellston Council, Wellston Police Chief John Robinson spoke, gave a little report.
Okay.
He passed out and talked about his 2022 activity summary report. And this is for the calendar year 2022. And he does this yearly since he's been chief. The police department handled 4,680 calls for service in 2022.
Gosh, that's a lot.
Yeah. And he gave a little bit of a breakdown for that. There was 1,069 traffic stops, 467 calls for suspicious activity, 143 vehicle lockouts, 52 overdose calls, 177 calls for traffic crashes with 133 crash reports prepared, 154 vehicles came into the impound lot, and 610 vehicle reports prepared. And he also talked about prisoner transport. This is always interesting to hear.
Okay.
So over the course of the past year, there were 99 prisoner transports. They traveled 7,990 miles, and officers spent 212 and a half hours on transport.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's just Wellston.
Yeah.
Imagine the Oak Hill and the sheriff's office and Jackson, what their hours were. Also on the arrest and citation side, Robson shared that there were 831 total citations and arrests for 2022. The few big numbers would be 92 felony level arrests, 42 felony warrant arrests, 739 misdemeanor arrests and citations, and 274 arrests for misdemeanor warrants.
Wow.
So that's kind of a little...
And you wonder why the courts get bogged up.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, that's a little breakdown for that.
That's just Wellston.
So that's a rundown of Wellston Council. Real quick for a hop off here because Mr. Wilson is in the house.
Pete Wilson's in the house.
Real quick rundown. This week you have your first school board meetings of the year.
Yes.
So Wellston City School District Board of Education meets tonight at 7:30 p.m. And prior to that, I think at 7:20 p.m. they'll have their Records Commission meeting. And then following that at 7:30, they'll have their organizational and regular meeting. Later this week on Wednesday, the Oak Hill Board of Education will be meeting for its first time. And that's Wednesday, January 11th at 4:30 p.m. And prior to the start of it, they'll also do their Records Commission.
Yep.
And then Jackson City School District Board of Education. They usually, I think, meet on Tuesdays, but they're meeting on Thursday, January 12th at 7 p.m. Wellston meets at the administrative office there on Broadway in Wellston.
Okay.
Oak Hill meets at the library there at Oak Hill Middle High School.
Okay.
And Jackson meets in room 110 there at Jackson High School. And usually at these meetings, they select president, vice president for the year, usually set their meeting dates and times, and other numerous kind of stuff to get them off the ground for the beginning of the year.
Okay.
So we will be there to cover that and have coverage from all those meetings. The Jackson County Commissioners, they will be meeting on Wednesday this week for their first meeting of the year as well.
That's right.
That's at 8:30 a.m. and it's over at the Jackson County Job and Family Services there. That's where they're located now. Their meeting room is, if you know where the Jackson County Board of Elections is now, it's not that door, it's the door next to it.
To the left.
To the left. Is you walk in there and they have signage for the meetings. So that's a rundown of what I have. So I'll give my seat to Mr. Wilson.
Very good. Well, thank you, Jeremiah.
Yep,
we
you're
always love spending time with you. So thank you for all your work.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Well, come on over, Mr. Wilson. Because it's Monday and that means news day.
Right. Okay.
And Pete's always full of it.
Right. Okay. I always have to wonder what you mean by that. you say that.
Well, I mean, I could be meaning a whole lot of things, huh?
I know. Speak straightly, young lady. Okay. Well, I tell you, Jeremiah got us rolling with one of the main stories that we were covering from the weekend, and that is that fire there in Wellston.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah, we posted some information on that, and since then, we've got the full report. So the story that we have circulated, on our website, we like to get things out as quickly as possible. We'll be building on that, expanding on that. But once again, winter, especially when it gets really cold, you tend to have these things. Mm-hmm. I think Jeremiah probably mentioned. I looked at the report too. It sounds like there was a furnace problem there.
It is.
So when people are trying to keep their house warm, unfortunately, I think the number of fires tick up a little bit. So we are going to go from Wellston to the criminal justice system and a very interesting crime story in the criminal justice system as a result of alleged crimes. And it all involves one person. We'll call it the Matthew Cooper saga. Matthew Cooper, age 32 years old. He's got a Wellston address. There you see a picture of Matthew. And we're going to talk about not one, not two, but three different criminal cases in the courts that involve Matthew R. Cooper.
What?
Right. The most, and this was detailed in our Saturday paper. Philip Buffington wrote a very nice in-depth report. Did some research on the internet on CourtView, which anybody can call up, but you have to know how to navigate it.
Sure.
And then also talk with, of course, the court personnel. But the most recent development on Matt Cooper was a judgment that came from Common Pleas Judge Chris Reagan involving a case of alleged bribery. And the Cooper was found guilty. He was indicted back on May 25th, 2021 on this. And the bribery charge came from a report from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office that alleged that Cooper had asked, and this is when Cooper was incarcerated, had asked a corrections officer to bring narcotics into the Jackson County Correctional Facility. in exchange for money. Specifically, the report states that the officer that Cooper offered the officer in question $750 to pick up the narcotics for him, and then another $750 upon delivery.
Well, where the heck did he get $1,500 in jail?
Well, I don't know, but sometimes you can manipulate things from your cell and so forth. Once again, Cooper said that this was in jest. It was a joke. He didn't mean it. He was just joking. The judge did not buy that. And even though, it was reported by the corrections officer in question, as it turned out, it was that corrections officer's last day anyway. But so he might not have been around to do a delivery if he would have been.
Should have taken the money, huh?
Right. But
wouldn't have had to do anything.
But according to Judge Reagan, he wrote, the defense suggests that the officer, I won't name the officer, could not have possibly brought the drugs into the jail since everybody knew it was his last day working as a correctional officer. The argument is without merit. In a prosecution for bribery, it is not necessary that the person bribed could in fact perform the service requested.
Sure.
Bottom line is, if you attempt to bribe somebody, it's just as bad whether it went through or not.
Correct. Or whether it could have been done or not. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So a date for sentencing in that case has not been set as of the last time we checked, but that was an interesting behind-the-scenes thing there that did not come out until it reached the court system. That is not all.
I was going to say,
there are two other cases. Cooper was indicted on March 22nd, 2021, not quite 2 years ago, on 2 third-degree felony counts of illegal conveyance of weapons onto the grounds of a specified government facility, meaning the Jackson County Correctional Facility, the jail. He was being searched prior to being released into the jail's general population when a corrections officer allegedly found 2 pieces of a disposable razor on Cooper's person. So that resulted in criminal charges as well. And that case continues in the court system right now. It was continued last August. A new date has not been established. So that one is on hold right now and in the system.
Okay.
Third case. Cooper was indicted on October 21st, 2020 on a third-degree felony count of complicity to the illegal conveyance of drugs into the detention facility. A trial date on that case has not been set either. Another case. Finally, on March 28, 2020, and this is according to the Wellston Police Department, this case out of Wellston, Cooper was driving a vehicle and allegedly fired shots from a handgun in the direction of another vehicle, which was occupied by juveniles. The incident occurred at Minnesota Avenue and Golden Rocket Drive in Wellston. That is right outside where you go into Wellston High School from the south side, I guess it would be. Nobody was hurt, but once again, Cooper charged with actually firing the shots. Nobody was injured. No property was damaged. He fled the scene. An investigation happened or began thereafter. The Wellston Police Department located the unoccupied vehicle that Cooper was driving the following morning, and that resulted in 2 search warrants. As a result of those searches and the investigation, Cooper was charged with felonious assault, which is a second-degree felony.
Yep.
He was later captured as well. And so between all the cases, I'm guessing that he has spent a lot of time in jail. He is set to be released March the 7th, 2023. He is currently incarcerated on 2 third-degree felony counts of trafficking drugs out of Vinton County. That was a different case. So that's exactly what he's in there for now.
Okay.
So that's all one person. It's certainly interesting when you throw it all together there. And so several of those cases are still awaiting adjudication, whether it be a plea bargain or sentencing or jury trial or whatnot.
So he hasn't been sentenced for the bribery thing yet?
No, that should be coming up pretty soon.
Okay.
A lot of times after a defendant is found guilty, there isn't an instant sentencing. There's reports and investigations that have to be done that help a judge determine what the sentence might be. It isn't always automatic, especially on the more serious crimes.
Right.
So we will see what happens there. We will follow those cases. All right, Oak Hill is getting ready for a big extended celebration in 2023 because it is the 150th anniversary of the founding of the village.
Oh, cool.
That was back in 1873. I know the settlement of Oak Hill goes back before that. And that was the Welsh, of course. That's not a fable, it's the truth.
Yep.
The Welsh reached Oak Hill after moving into the hills of Gallia County because it looked like the old home country.
Like Wales. Yeah.
Right. So Oak Hill's very strong Welsh roots that continue. And 1873 was when the village was actually founded. And the Oak Hill Chamber of Commerce is definitely going to lead the way with some sesquicentennial. That's what you call a 150-year celebration.
I'll let you say that word.
Sesquicentennial. All right.
Okay.
Or 150th year
there we go.
celebration. But anyway, the first event is going to be kind of like a celebration. The Chamber is sponsoring it. They're going to have a free concert on Saturday, January 28th at 7 p.m. at where else? Of course, the Liberty Theater Community Center there on East Main Street. And our good friend Kenny Valentine and his band are going to do a free concert there. That's Kenny right there, a proud graduate of the class of 73. I graduated with Kenny. And Kenny and his band will be doing a free concert courtesy of the Oak Hill Area Chamber of Commerce. Anybody is allowed to come. The chamber will be selling concessions as well. There will likely be other activities during the year. There most certainly will be because we're only in January, but this is the first one. Some other groups will probably step in according to the chamber and be involved in some activities. Well, maybe the village, maybe the Festival of Flags Committee, maybe the Oak Hill Historical Society. Those are some of the organizations that, step up and always do things in the village, organizations and like that. And so we'll see what happens there. The chamber, by the way, is having its first meeting of the new year today. It'll be noon at the Liberty Theater Community Center. Red Thompson Jr. Is going to be attending that meeting, as he usually does, and he may come back with more developments, plans for what's coming up through the year.
That's exciting.
I haven't heard about any activities yet, but I'll drop this because I have my nose in history books. Wellston is also observing its sesquicentennial.
Really?
1873 was when Wellston was founded. Harvey Wells did it with the idea of building a major city based on the fact that coal is all around there. And that was starting to be, a big industry. Yeah. And it really took off, when the railroads came and they could get that market, they could get that coal out to wider markets. But 1873 was when Wellston was founded. If you recall, the Wellston Ohilco Festival is an extension of the centennial celebration that Wellston had in 1973.
Yeah.
They had that celebration. They thought, well, why don't we do something every year? And the Ohilco Festival was born.
There it is.
Ohilco Festival became the Coal Festival. The Coal Festival went back to Ohilco Festival. Actually, they prefer to be called the Ohio Hill Country Festival.
We can't keep track.
But Ohilco is so much into the lexicon there that's usually what people say. So there could be some things going on in Wellston too, but all good stuff.
Pete, I'm going to put you on the spot. We, of course, celebrated a different anniversary last year, your 50th anniversary in the news. So do you remember the 100th anniversary of either of those two communities?
The 100th. Well, I do remember in 1973, Wellston had that big celebration. Barbara McInnes, who still lives in Wellston, definitely one of the great contributors, worked on the papers in Wellston, was associated with the Telegram under the previous ownership. Her and her husband were very much involved in that. She was one of the ones that led that celebration, the centennial celebration. They all got dressed up. John Pelletier, he was alive in 1973. He was one of the leaders of that. And,
probably when he had more hair.
So they had a big celebration and it led to the Ohilco Festival. I do not remember, James, what Oak Hill might have done in 1973. That would have been a centennial celebration. I'm guessing some things happened.
I'd say so.
There were some residents in Wellston, some of them are still alive, who really value the history, the tradition, the Welsh roots.
Yeah.
And my guess is they did some things. Maybe an event, maybe some of the groups did some things. I do not remember. I was working at the paper then, but that was 1 year before the former Oak Hill paper called the Oak Hill Press was ended, and it became part of the Jackson newspaper, the countywide Jackson newspaper. And so I'm guessing in the old Oak Hill Press, the last year it operated, there's all kinds of stories about that. But I am guessing that they did something that is, I'll do some homework on that, James, because I'm guessing that some of that may come out as Oak Hill prepares some of its upcoming activities, because I'm guessing maybe if they did have activities, a lot of research was done then.
I'd say you're probably right. Now, when was Jackson founded?
Jackson was founded, Jackson goes back to 1795. That's way before the town, though. The town was founded in 1817, just after the county was formed. The city itself is 1847. That's when the city was founded. But there was a settlement here before Jackson became a city. In the old days, Jackson was Poplar Row. That was Jackson's original name before it was incorporated and everything.
Okay.
Right.
Very cool.
Right. So, I tell you what, we are in good hands in this county with the historical associations.
Yes.
30, 40 years ago, even though there was an appreciation for history, there wasn't organized groups. Just in our era, you have the Jackson Historical Society, you have the Oak Hill Historical Society, you have the Wellston Historical Association. You have all those three groups that are doing things. In Vinton County, you have the Vinton County Genealogical and Historical Society. I don't know how far they go back, but they're very active as well. And of course, at the Lillian Jones Museum, Ashley Aldridge down there certainly values history. I know she'll be doing a lot from that corner. The Jackson County Genealogical Society also gets into some history too.
And we have Bob Irvin, so.
And we have Bob Irvin. Saw him out on the street over the weekend, and my guess is he's probably still researching and writing.
Yeah, I'd say
and
you're right.
he is the go-to guy when you have a question.
That's right.
So we'll see how the history comes out in Oak Hill and Wellston this coming year. Okay, we'll go to another story. And that is about the respective fair boards. The two fair boards, Jackson County, Vinton County, had recent elections to determine fair board members.
Yeah.
They're staggered in Jackson County. I'm guessing it operates the same in Vinton County, technically known as the Agricultural Society, same thing as the fair board.
Yep.
They elect 7 of their 21 members each year. Staggered terms, 3-year terms.
Oh, okay.
So back in November, the Jackson County Fair Board elected 7 members. Some of them were reelected, some of them are new. But for the Jackson County Fair Board, and we've got a picture up there. There they are. That's all or most of them that were available for the picture. The newly seated Fair Board, the new officers are Mike Farley as president. He's returned. New vice president is Chris Walls. Returning as secretary is Gerald Fuzzy Fulkerson. And returning as treasurer is Kevin Wilson. The 6 people who were elected to new 3-year terms were familiar names: Jamie Sexton, Clayton Lewis, Angie Eisnagel, Guy Wall, Randy Sims, and Carla Taylor. The only new person on the board is Robert Elliott.
Okay.
Now, I know that's not all the Fair Board members. They're all in the picture there. That means that they are in the middle of their terms.
Sure.
They were elected before. Their terms will come up next year or the year after that. And so that's how that works. All right, in Vinton County, they had a similar election for their fair board as well. It's a junior fair board in Vinton County. And one of the persons reelected is the current president, Austin Owings. There's Austin right there, good old boy. Drives a truck during the day, but donates a lot of his time to lead the fair board in Vinton County.
That's awesome.
Of course, they are under a big push in Vinton County to improve the fairgrounds. They're trying to add campsites up there.
Oh, cool.
With the idea that they will not only have more camping during the fair, more sites, but they'll be able to attract events the rest of the year. The other 51 weeks. The Jackson County Fair also has that mentality as well. But Austin Owings was one of the new members elected. The vice president is Craig Case. The secretary is Audrey Ropsard. And the treasurer is Rochelle Fallon. The people who were elected in new terms were Austin Owings and Audrey Robson. They are officers again, as well as newly elected board members. And David Davis is a new member of the Vinton County Junior Fair Board. There were some vacancies where they did not get people elected. So appointed to new terms were Chris Martin and Kimmy Martin and Donovan Ward.
Okay.
And so the Vinton County Fair Board, once again, and the Jackson County Fair Board, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think it's in the next week or two. They all go up to Columbus through the Ohio State Fair Managers Conference, And this is where they network, and that is also where they make some key decisions about bookings.
Yes, the fun stuff.
So we will know more about that. As far as I know, I don't have the dates in memory, but I know the Ohio Agricultural Department recently declared the new dates for the 2023 fairs. They try to keep them the same for continuity, but once again, Jackson County Fair will roughly be the third week of July, the Benton County Junior Fair the fourth week of July.
Yep.
All right. We can credit United States Senator Sharon Brown, Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur, she's from up around Toledo, and former Congressman Tim Ryan, who ran unsuccessfully for Senate against J.D. Vance. They were the three main people who worked to secure, now get this, a whopping $20 million that will help build a new middle school in the Scioto Valley School District, which is Piketon.
Okay, so I've been wondering about this because when you go down 32 and you turn right to go to Waverly, there's a school there.
That's it. That's the Zahn's Corner School.
Jamie and I have had that discussion 100 times. Like, why is that school not open? It looks like a nice building.
That was where they found some radioactive contamination.
Until you did that story, so I called him. I said, I solved the mystery. It read Pete's story.
That contamination obviously wasn't supposed to be there.
No.
And so that, of course, caused quite a stir. And it really was unfair to the school district to have that situation. Even though they may say that it's safe with the levels of radioactivity or whatever, you're going to send your kids there? No, you're certainly not going to do that.
So where are the kids going to school now?
Well, I am not sure how they manage that situation in the Scioto. I am not. But
because it's all fenced off and everything. So I was like, there's something weird about that.
Well,
now I get it.
Exactly. The good news is, and if
it's like a nice looking building.
There it is. Thank you, James. If the radioactive contamination is there, and that's on the other side of 32, what's that say about when we cross that highway?
Correct. I know.
Residents much closer to the plant, the old gaseous diffusion plant, than the Zahn's Corner School.
Yes.
The Zahn's Corner School, as the crow flies, maybe a mile. So, but anyway, $20 million for community-focused education and training opportunities, economic development initiatives around the Portsmouth facility, and that will go also to build a new school there, a new middle school. Also, $500,000 to maintain community liaison activities and provide technical and regulatory assistance to the local community and surrounding counties. And a requirement for a report to the Appropriations Committee for the Department of Energy to recycle over 20,000 tons of high-grade nickel from decommissioned uranium enrichment plants. And a directive to the Department of Energy to report air and groundwater testing results in a timely and transparent manner. Mm-hmm. So, of course, the cleanup activities goes on over there at the gaseous diffusion plant, but one of the things that was pointed out, and this needs to come out no matter what connections you may make, Pike County has one of the highest cancer rates in the state of Ohio. Is it because of the plant, or is it just happenstance? But it is a fact.
Yeah.
All right. Some other news will go up to Vinton County for this. The Vinton County Commissioners, because, the calendar year changed, turned over to 2023. At the first meeting of the year, they passed their budget. And that budget for the commissioners is just under $6 million. It is a balanced budget. They were able to do it without any new taxes. Some of the properties may have been reevaluated or whatever, but no new millage, no new sales tax increase or anything like that. They were able to give some increases in some departments. They feel that the commissioners feel the county is in good financial position, solid financial position. And some of the big things that will happen in Vinton County during the year, hopefully very soon, the Vinton County Sheriff's Office will make that move to its new facility. And another thing, we've talked about this almost ad nauseum, but it remains a need, and that is funding for the Garrett Ridge Water Project over there in the western end of the county.
Get those people some water, man.
The good news is, we recently reported this, they've got about $500,000 for planning and engineering. That sounds like an awful lot for not any digging, but that's what it takes to set the table. And that phrase that you keep hearing, shovel ready. If you are ready to go with a project, it's easier to get the construction money because you're ready.
Yep.
You don't have that waiting period. Well, I mean, because usually grants like that do not include planning and engineering. So one step at a time. All right, some other things on the lighter side to report. Once again, we want to remind you, once on the public affairs side, we do want to let you know once again that the Republican Executive Committee and Central Committee will meet on this Friday evening at 6:30
big
p.m.
decisions.
Right, they're going to
make.
appoint a prosecutor to replace Justin Levitt, who resigned effective last Friday for a state government job. That person who becomes the new prosecutor will serve the remainder of Levitt's unexpired term. That'll be the rest of this year in 2024. And they're also going to reappoint or appoint an elections board member on the Republican side. The Democrats will be doing the same thing as far as a board of elections member as well. That has to be done before March 1st.
Okay.
As the editor of the Telegram, I want to thank both the Wellston City Board of Education and the Jackson City Board of Education. They recently did honors called the Media Honor Roll. That is where they thank and recognize local media members for their service, and it's an honor because they don't have to do it. It's not not required, but
well deserved.
That is their public recognition, a pat on the back for providing what they call fair and balanced coverage. This is at the Jackson School Board meeting, and you got board member Kim Harless on the left, and then you have some of us. You got associate editor.
Look how cute you guys are.
Associate editor Phil Buffington, myself, Telegram multimedia journalist Jeremiah Shaver, and that young lady on the right is Jade Winters. She is a senior at Jackson High School and the student representative, the student liaison to the board. She attends all the board meetings and offers student input. So thank you, Jackson City Board of Education. Just the week before at the Wellston City Board of Education, that is Superintendent Dr. Brian Rao there in the middle. He is flanked by Jeremiah Shaver on the left and Associate Editor Phil Buffington on the right. I was sitting at a Jackson City Council meeting at the same time, or I would have been very glad to be there as well, because we do appreciate that recognition, because they don't have to give it, and it is a two-way street. I can honestly say, if I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it, we have good relations with the superintendents and the school boards in both of those two districts, and they are the superintendents especially are very forthcoming with information.
Yes.
They answer the phone when you call, or they get back to you pretty quick, and they give you the necessary background information so you can understand what's going on, and so we do appreciate them as well. All right. Tonight, the Jackson City Council meets. I know Jeremiah was talking about some of the board meetings that are going on.
Yeah.
But Jackson City Council will have its first meeting of the year. I know they're going to do a major honor tonight. I'm not going to be the spoiler on that, but we'll talk about that later in the week. A very just award and recognition is supposed to happen tonight. Also tonight, the Utility Committee and the Tree Commission will meet prior to the regular council meeting, which is at 7 o'clock. This is the first meeting of the year for Jackson City Council. Jeremiah mentioned our local school boards here in Jackson County that are having their first meeting. Also in Vinton County, the first meeting of the Vinton County Local Board of Education will be tomorrow at 5 o'clock. That's Tuesday. It'll meet at the boardroom at the district office there on High Street in MacArthur. Red Thompson Jr. will be there to report that. Once again, the first meeting of the year for them. That means that in addition to the regular monthly meeting, there'll be the organizational meeting, I think, and also maybe a tax budget meeting as well. These are procedural things, usually not a big deal, but they have to be done to start the year. All right, the Vinton County Junior Fair Board, I mentioned Austin Owings and the Fair Board earlier when we were talking. They had a very successful first year of their Christmas tree display.
Yes.
Remember, they got on board with that, had 35 trees the first year out. Weren't sure it was going to fly, but it flew.
It did.
Very good.
I drove by a couple of times and got to see them,
Well, they put out a Facebook post earlier today. Now's the time to take down the trees. This is the first year.
Get them out of there.
This is the first year for it, so that's part of the process. You put up a tree, you sponsor a tree, thank you, but you've got to take it down.
Yeah.
And so that has to be done, they say, by this Friday, January the 13th. So if you have one of those trees, take note. However, one of the things they said in putting out this announcement is, by golly, they're going to do it again next year.
Good.
It was successful enough. Not only is it a nice thing for the community, we know it is in Jackson, Wellston, and Oak Hill as well. Not only is it a nice thing for Benton County, another way to celebrate Christmas, but it raises money for improvements at the fairgrounds.
Right on.
Always looking for new ways to do that as well. All right. Another thing that's coming up this week, this Friday, and we will put James Hamilton on the spot. He's going to be in the spotlight down in Gallipolis. The Gallipolis Artisan Shop and Studio are going to feature the works of local photographer James Hamilton. I'm guessing they just don't let anybody do this.
I'm guessing you're right.
And
I don't know, Peter. I think they'd probably let just
no,
about
I don't
anybody
think
do
so.
it.
No.
I don't think
I think
so.
they ran out of better options.
Stop being humble. Stop it.
No, James is the digital marketing manager here. Of course, he produces the TV show. Every now and then, he contributes to our newspaper directly with his photography. He's certainly our guru on videos and some other tech stuff. But he is going to be in the spotlight with that exhibit. It's the opening reception there. The Behold My Stuff is what it's called. I like that name, James.
Behold
Thank
my
you.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Behold. Hey, listen, take a look.
It had to be something stupid.
Well, James doesn't.
I'm physically incapable of picking a serious name.
That gets your attention. You're thinking, okay, what is his stuff? But
I like it.
I'm not sure all what's going to be in there, what James has lined up, but photography, enhanced photography. Love to look at these bird shots that he gets
I know.
right outside
They're
his
awesome.
window. They are great, but
Where is that location?
So it's on
James?
3rd Avenue in Gallipolis.
Third. Okay. I know
749
exact-
Third.
Yeah.
So second is where
Yeah,
Courtside is. So is
it's
that
pretty-
behind?
Yeah, it's pretty close to the park. It's just down the block a little bit. It's close to what's the corner there? Can you think what the cross street there is, Pete?
3rd, and I've been in downtown Gallipolis, but I don't have the grid memorized.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a it's a little tricky to find it. So it's right there by the Family Oxygen Medical Equipment store. They're on the corner of 3rd and Pine.
Okay.
3rd and Pine, yeah. So, if you're coming in, on 160,
Yeah.
that runs right into Pine Street. So just drive right on in until you hit 3rd Street.
So you hit
Yeah,
third.
it's just like a block down from the Speedway.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I gotcha.
I'd say the way to go in is on the 160 exit
Yeah.
and just roll right into town. And
So you just drive straight into it then.
and hit 3rd Avenue, and there it is.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just right in. If you're coming from Jackson, it's just kind of right there.
Right. But that reception Friday, 6 to 8 p.m., and it will feature, according to what I have here, traditional and enhanced photography, nature, wildlife, local landmarks, and cosplay. So that should be interesting. And if you can't make it to the opening night reception, where there will be refreshments, as well as, I think, James, you're going to be there, aren't you?
I will be there.
Absolutely, he
I
will
will
be there.
absolutely be there.
I'm going for the refreshments.
Okay.
Well, it's gonna be good.
James told me
'Cause
what.
we're gonna have a fancy cheese tray.
Yeah.
We're gonna have fancy like homemade mixed nuts kind of thing.
Yeah.
gonna
He
be
was
good.
telling me, I'm like, I'm there for the food, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good spread.
Love you too,
There-
but I'm there for the cheese tray.
There is a chance of snow that day, so hopefully that doesn't amount to much of anything.
Yeah, we'll keep our fingers crossed
Yeah,
on
but
that.
Pete, I appreciate you putting that in the paper. You didn't have to do that. It's very nice of you, and I hope you and Red and the rest of the crew can make it out to the reception. I certainly do not expect you to write anything on it, but I would love it if you guys just came to just
I
as
tell you
friends
what.
to come and see it.
Yeah.
The opening night reception, of course, is your first opportunity, but I understand it will go on this month and next month.
Yeah, so it'll be up until toward the end of February, so
So if
plenty
you
of
can't,
chance to see it.
if you can't make it,
Mm-hmm.
it would be great if you could come Friday, but if not,
And it's a nice little shop too. If you've never been in there, it's
Never
a nice,
have. Oh.
It's a nice blend of sort of like local artisan crafts, like jewelry and some pottery and things like that.
oh, good, I
But
can
it's-
shop too.
Yes, but it's also kind of a flea market kind of thing going on. So they have lots of they have a lot of records. They have a really good record selection.
Gotcha.
Old games, old toys, things like that. So it's a neat little shop. It's not real big, but it's really neat.
Cool.
So I appreciate you sharing that information, Pete, and I hope people can come out and see it. Whether you come Friday or any other time, just during their regular hours. And it's the Artisan Shop. So you can find them on Facebook and find the hours and everything.
There you
All right.
go.
Well, very good. All right. Speaking of upcoming events, the Jackson County Sportsman Federation, that's one of the big outdoor groups in Jackson County.
Okay.
They have an annual event. They just call it the annual banquet. It's simple.
I like that.
They've named the date. It's going to be Saturday, January the 28th, and it will be, at the Cantor's Cave 4-H camp where a lot of those events are held. Big fundraiser. Tickets are $25, but it includes a dinner as well as a chance to win a muzzle loader rifle or $100 in cash. Sounds like a good price to me since you get a dinner. But it is a great opportunity for area sportsmen to support Jackson County wildlife issues and youth projects. One of the things that the Sportsmen's Federation supports is an annual $1,000 college scholarship. Last year, Georgia Baptist of Jackson, Chloe Chambers of Oak Hill, and Christopher Jones of Wellston won those scholarships, and they will be doing that again. Once again, that date is Saturday, January 28th. We had that in the paper on Saturday, but we lost the 2 in front of the 8, and so we don't want people to think that it was January the 8th. It is January the 28th. Right, exactly.
It's still coming up.
Still plenty of time there to get tickets as well. I should tell you about getting tickets. If you want to purchase tickets or need further information, call this number, 740-395-7007. Once again, 740-395-7007. That article is on our website, free as well, to check for more information. Okay, another big event coming up at the YMCA is the Daddy-Daughter Dance.
Oh, that's a big one.
They are having that again. There's all kinds of balls going on in January.
Yes.
I think we heard from Sandy Smith about the Herds of Hope. But this one is going to be called To the Moon and Back, and the dance dates are February 24th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. and Saturday, February 25th from 4 to 5:30 p.m. and then also from 6 to 7:30 p.m. that date. The events will all be held at the YMCA. If you want to get tickets, I suggest that you contact the Y and take care of that because it normally
blown up.
It has been a sellout on some of the times, and that's why they have 3 different times for it.
Yep.
The Daddy-Daughter Dance at the YMCA. We also want to, I would love to be able to do this. I don't know whether I can work it out with my schedule or not, but the YMCA is doing what they call a community hike to Ophir Falls.
Where's that?
Well, see, that's the problem. Nobody knows about Ophir Falls.
This is part of that Colton Wildlife Reserve, right?
It's in the Colton Wildlife Nature Area.
Okay.
It's off the beaten track. I think the best way to get to it is on Jackson Hill Road, and then you've got to walk back a ways. But some experienced hikers and naturalists, Joe Finch, I think, is the one who's kind of organizing it. Dennis Reinhardt obviously is going to help.
Yeah.
He has posted pictures of Ophir Falls. That's been, and I think that was pictures of Ophir Falls have been in his photography exhibits at the Marquee.
He does some amazing
Well, this is a chance
stuff.
to have a guided hike back to Ophir Falls. It's going to be Saturday, January 14th. That is this Saturday. It'll be a morning hike. You have to call the YMCA to register, though. It doesn't say anything about a cost. Maybe there's a cost, but they did not advertise that. But you do need to register ahead of time. You can go to the Y or call the Y and register at 286-7008. If you go to the YMCA website or Facebook, you can get information, and maybe you can register that way as well. But you're supposed to meet at the YMCA at 9:30, and not only will they guide you once you're there at the Ophir Falls entry point, but they will also take you there in a van. You don't even have to drive your car out there.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know about the capacity, how many can go, if there's a limitation.
That sounds fun.
But
when they load everybody into that van, do they put a black sack over your head so
Yep.
you can't see where
where you're going? we don't want you to really know that where you are.
but I tell you about Ophir Falls. If Ophir Falls was in a tourist area, it would be an attraction.
Yeah.
It just happened.
It is amazing.
It is. I've just seen the pictures.
Yeah, I haven't been either.
All right. Okay. We also want to let you know on the sports side, a lot of basketball this past weekend. The Jackson boys won 2 games. They beat Hillsborough on Friday night and then beat Waverly on Saturday night. The Oak Hill boys beat Waverly on Friday night. They lost to Pike Eastern on Saturday. The Vinton County boys, they've only lost 1 game. They beat Meigs on Friday night, 66-53. The Wellston boys beat River Valley on Friday night, 66-50, so pretty good weekend. The girls from Jackson have only lost 2 games. They're still in first place in the Frontier Athletic Conference. Our ladies beat Hillsboro 59-47 on Saturday. That was on the road. Tonight, they host Albany Alexander, and that game will be on the radio.
Okay.
WKOV 96.7 FM or streaming, of course.
Yeah.
So lots to talk about in the news, Jennifer, news and sports. And I didn't even get it all covered, but we'll be back later in the week, I suppose.
That's right.
All right.
You just can't stay away, Pete. That's what it is.
That's right.
He just loves to spend his mornings with us.
I thought James might have that cheese ball in here early for early sampling.
Yeah, tell Aubrey she needs to get some samples so that we can.
We'll work on it. She's the freaking cheese tray queen. So I think it's probably going to be pretty good.
So this is a true story. I said to Jamie, I said, so Aubrey's going to make this really cool cheese tray for her. He was like, I like her even more now. I said, because she's really into cheese.
Oh, yeah.
I like her even more.
She's good at it. And she had to cancel some of her Christmas plans because of the weather.
Yes.
So she didn't get to do her Christmas cheese tray the way she wanted to do it. So
now
she might let out some of that pent up energy on this cheese tray. So
we're excited.
It's going to be good.
All right. Well, very good. Okay. So we have a fun guest tomorrow here on the program. We have a Mothman expert.
Yeah. Cameron Jones. She's going to be doing a presentation at the library. I think it is tomorrow, but she's going to come in and talk about the Mothman.
Yes. Can't wait. It's going to be we're going to learn all kind of fun stuff. So have a great day. Have a great day. And we will be right back here tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.